Hi folks, this is John Vesco with John Vesco Real Estate. As I explained in my earlier videos, that I retired from the Marines after 21 years, and now I sell real estate. I'm taking this picture from my office in Havelock, North Carolina. Today we're going to discuss, I wrote an offer to purchase on a property here, and it got accepted. What are the next steps, and what should your agent be doing? And these are my steps that I take to make sure that the transaction goes smoothly. Once I take the basic information from the contract, the buyer's name, the seller's name, who the lawyers are going to be, I put them into my program and I activate my closing plan. My closing plan took a while to come up with. It's actually 2 pages long, and it's activated by what you do on every individual date. Okay, so the first thing I want to do after the offer to purchase is I want to make sure that all the property disclosures are signed. The property disclosures, the minimum rights, the noise disclosures, any disclosures we need, I want to make sure they are signed by everybody. If it is on a septic tank, I want to make sure that we have a septic permit on file, that the septic matches the advertised. If it's advertised for a 3-bedroom, it should have a 3-bedroom septic. If they're advertising as a 4-bedroom, I need to make sure that the septic permit is good for a 4-bedroom. Okay? Next thing I want to do is I want to append it into the MLS system. The MLS stands for Multiple Listing Systems. It's basically just a database for realtors to know what's on the market. Okay? I have other forms I want to make sure I have. In North Carolina, I want to make sure I have what's called a Working with Real Estate Agent form. It was a disclosure to the buyer or the seller, letting them know that I have a real estate license. I can't discriminate race, creed, color, sex, national origin, family status, or gender identification. It also says what I should do. I have to be open, honest, and fair with everybody I meet. Okay? If it was my listing, I want to make sure that any bills that were accumulated during the listing period will be on the closing table. So there will be no liens on the property except for a mortgage and things that are normally there. If I was working for the buyer, I want to make sure that the buyer's agreement was filled out correctly. I want to double check on the covenants to make sure, and I gave the covenants to the buyer before we ever sat down and wrote the offer to purchase, to make sure that what they want to do, adding a fence, putting a modular there, whatever is legal for the subdivision. Next thing I do the same day is I want to send out the contract to all the interested parties. What that is the buyer, the buyer's agent, the seller's agent, and the attorney. Okay? In North Carolina, we have a what's called a professional services disclosure. It tells you all the different inspections that we're going to go over. I make sure they have it. I also send out a Zillow agent review, so the person I'm working with can actually put me up on Zillow, say, hey, he's doing a good job, things like that. In my computer, I want to annotate the date of the due diligence date. What a due diligence date is that within a few years ago, North Carolina you were able to get out of the contract for different reasons, like the appraisal was low, the home inspection came up bad, the termite inspection failed. In North Carolina, what we're doing now is we have a due diligence date. What that is that date, which is usually about 20 to 30 days from the day the offer is accepted, the buyer has to have all his inspections, check all his documents. Up until that date, he can walk away for any reason he seems fit. Okay, if his cat doesn't like the house, he has the right to walk away. He will get back his earnest money, but not his due diligence money. The due diligence money is the seller's to keep. Okay? I want to make sure that if it's on a well, I want to schedule a well water test. VA loans, certain types of loans, make sure that there's no bacteria in the water. We do them here at the county. If not, I can hire a company to go out and do it for about $100. We want to make sure that the drinking water is safe. Obviously, if you're on city water or county water or a municipal system, you do not need a water test. I want to make sure that the mortgage company gets the contract so they can start working on everything. And when I was doing the initial investigating into the house with the buyer when we walked through the property, I want to make sure the power and the water are on. In North Carolina, the water and the power is supposed to be on according to the contract because I'm going to schedule a home inspection very shortly. And the only way they can inspect the property is to make sure that the power works and the water works and the appliances are working the way they're supposed to. I want to explain a little bit about a due diligence fee. In North Carolina, we have two types of money. We have an earnest money, which is usually held by the attorney and will be credited to the buyer at closing. We also have what's called due diligence money. Due diligence money is handed to the seller. It's basically for them to take the house off the market. If the buyer walks away, the seller still keeps that money. Okay? I want to know who the seller's attorney is. I want to know who the buyer's attorney is. I want to make sure that the earnest money, whoever is holding it, has signed the receipt. And I want to start scheduling my inspections. First thing is a septic inspection, if it's on a septic tank. If you're hooked up to municipal sewer system, it's not required. You need to know what type of septic tank it is. You want to schedule an inspection. They want to go out, make sure that the toilet flows into the. They do is they remove the lid. They look inside. They check for any kind of material in there. Sometimes they pump it out. You can also get the lines jettisoned. They come in there like a roto-rooter and they make sure all the lines are clean and that the water going into the tank flushes through the lines to where it's supposed to go. Next thing I also work on is I want to schedule the home inspection. I talked about a home inspection in an earlier video, and you can see that gets very complicated. If the deal falls through, I want it to fall through quickly. I don't want to drag this thing out to a day or two before closing and then figure out we can't buy the house. Okay? So after the home inspection's done and the septic, and I get the reports, I review everything with the sellers. Okay, with the buyers, excuse me, and the sellers, depending on which one I'm working for. Want to make sure that if the septic is not working, we get repair guys out there. We may need the county out there. Some people will pump a tank. Some people will inspect a tank. Not everybody does both of them. Okay? I want to go over the home inspection with everybody, making sure it's no problems. After that, I'm going to order what's called a wood destroying insect report. A WDIR is what I call it. It's to make sure that we don't have any termites or any kind of wood destroying insects. The pest inspector goes out there, he'll do a report, he'll send me a copy of the report. A lot of times, realtors, I keep paper copies of everything, plus it's online, but I want to make sure we don't have any issues. If it does come back with termites, it needs to be treated. Sometimes I need to have a licensed contractor go out there to make sure that the termites did no structural damage to the house. Okay? After the reports, and we send out a due diligence request to the owner to see, yes, he will fix this, or no, he won't fix this. Okay? During all this time, the mortgage company should have ordered the appraisal on the house. The appraisal on the house is to make sure that the buyer is getting what he paid for, that the house is worth the money. The banks order it. Different appraisers do different ones, like there's VA appraisers, FHAs, some do multiple, but the bank has to order it. I want to make sure it comes out to value and there are no repairs on the appraisal. If there's repairs on the appraisal, the bank will not issue the loan until the repairs are completed and the appraiser goes back out there to search and to make sure everything's working right. In all this wholesale process, I've asked for home repairs and things like that. I want to double check on the status of the repairs. Don't wait to the last minute to figure out, oh, I need to fix this, because you're a week from closing and it's hard to find handyman and plumbers and septic guys and things like that. I also want to make sure that my buyers know the utility numbers, the cable guys, the electric, the water, who the providers are. I tell them to turn it on as of the date of the closing. And here in North Carolina, you just call, say I'm buying a house, they may ask for the contract, and to turn it on or off at a certain date. Okay? I also send out a guide to moving attached to my people so they have an understanding of what's happening along with me walking them through it. I want to make sure they have insurance on the house. The insurance, they're going to call their insurance person to make sure that there's a lot of different insurance. There's wind and hail, there's flood, there's structure. We want to make sure that what they need is covered. Flood insurance is nice to have in this area. Not everything floods, but it's nice to have flood insurance just for that freak storm that might happen. Okay? I want to collect all the bills, any maintenance bills that were done. I want to make sure the buyer gets a copy at the closing and the seller gets a close and that the seller gets a copy, or the seller's attorney gets a copy, so to make sure that it shows up on the CD at closing, to make sure there are no unpaid bills. Coffee break. Okay. If the contract calls for home warranty, I want to make sure that I call the home warranty company. Basically, what a warranty does is that if something happens to the house after the buyer has moved in, they would call a warranty company. There will be a deduction for them to come out and fix things like the hot water heater, the air conditioners, things like that. Really important. It's nice to have a home warranty on the property. It saves you from problems later on down the line that might be very costly. I want to make sure the grass is cut. You want the people to move in. Everything is really pretty. If I'm working for the sellers, as of the date of closing, I want to make sure they've arranged to have their water, power, and electric turned off after they receive the check on the house. Do not turn off your insurance until you know that the deed has been recorded. If the house burns down 5 minutes before recording, it's the seller's responsibility, and if you've canceled your insurance, the insurance company won't pay. Okay? Then what I do is I send out just sold cards to the neighborhood. I make sure my MLS is all closed out correctly. I pick up my sign and lockbox, and then I load the information to Zillow. So I didn't tell you everything I do. Can't give you all my secrets. But that is my basic closing. And I provide all my RE/MAX agents my closing report. It's a 2-page report. Checklists are important. To me, some of the smartest people in the world are astronauts. And if they have a checklist, then I need one. So that's my going to a closing with John Vesco. If you have any questions or comments, you can always email me at john_vesco@coastalnet.com or johnvesco@remax.net, or send me a text on my cell phone at 252-808-7056, and we can bring up a video of what you need to discuss about real estate. See if I can answer it. I hope you enjoyed this. We've got more videos coming up. I want to get with newer agents, tell them what they need to know. In my 21 years, I've made a lot of mistakes, so I hope other people don't make the same ones. So I hope you have a great day, and I'll be talking to you later.